Hey everyone. I am hoping that I am coming up. It's the first time we are streaming live to YouTube. Um, so I have to say I am a little bit nervous. Okay, so we are going to be working on a Shimmer Flakes card today. I'll bring that into the screen as I chat with you about what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be doing this wonderful Shimmer Flakes card. This was designed for a scrapbook.com project. It's super fun. We're going to be using the Shimmer Flakes that are new with, they've kind of been around a little bit with scrapbook.com, not a ton, but um, they are available. Let me bring those in because I want to be able to show them to you. So these are the Shimmer Flakes. Okay, I'm going to open this one up because they do have some chunky bits and some tiny bits. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see that. So they're not, I wouldn't call them glitter. They are definitely flakes. Okay. So you can see there's some little bits and some large bits. If you're not a huge fan of glitter, these might be difficult for you, but I'm going to show you some easy ways to work with them. Okay. There are two openings on here. So there is this smaller opening that gets you like the smaller pieces. So you can see that gives you the smaller pieces. And then if you have the larger opening, you're going to get like the big old flakes. Okay. Let me place these in here for now, out of the way. So I use, there's like this beautiful purple color in there. Okay. I love this color. And then I use their new, this is their new pastel paper. It's got a glossy finish, which I think goes really, really well with the Shimmer Flakes. The other one I made was this anniversary card. Okay. And I just used, they're called Unicorn. So it's just this beautiful white. Okay. So I just did like a simple black and white with a classic red. I think that I like the way that that looks together. Okay. So there's two cards that I made. I do have them on the scrapbook.com gallery. If you want to, take a look at it. And you can see all of them that, all the shimmer cards. But like I said, this is the one we're going to make today. So I'm going to show you the different supplies. We are going to be using 3 of the Shimmer Flakes. So confetti is the pink, sunshine is the yellow, and mermaid, great color, right? Great color name. Mermaid is the blue. And then we're going to be using the Sunny Lane pattern paper. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just pull that out. There's this great yellow grid that we're going to be using for our background. And then I have this great from Sunshine. We're going to grab this kind of blue-green color. I think it's my last, nope, I've got a couple more. I use this color a lot. And then we're also going to grab, there's a pink in here that we're going to grab. Okay. And then, of course, we'll need some white cardstock to build our pieces. I am going to show you some tips for applying we're going to apply these to cardstock. And I'm just going to show you some other fun tips and tricks that I think will be very helpful, I hope, when you're working with these. So let me grab my, I'm going to grab my die cutting machine and we're going to start cutting some things out. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is cut out our little bunny shapes. Okay. So the easiest way to do this is by placing some double-sided tape onto your cardstock. And this is just a 2-inch tape. It's the width of the bunny. So I'm going to place this strip here, and let me grab. These titanium scissors are the best for if you're working with foam or sticky, sticky things like that. So we're just going to place down our double-sided tape. Now there is a wider double-sided tape that scrapbook.com has. I think it's a 4-inch, and that would actually work too. So from our bunnies, we're going to be using this size here, okay, so you can see you're not going to need a whole lot of tape across here. And before we cut, we're going to sprinkle, okay? So I'm going to move some things out of the way. And if you're like me and, you just are a mess all around, as you can tell, I am going to be placing this onto a little cloth here. This is the tidy cloths. Hello, Teresa. These are the tidy cloths. They come in like a roll, but you could use, any cloth that you have in your stash. And I'm going to be placing this down so that when I'm pouring my glitter pieces, they kind of stay within the little cloth. Now, the other thing that's going to come in handy is a lint roller. Okay, this is not a scrapbook.com item. This is probably something you have. And as you can see, I have glitter on my hands. I have glitter on my desk. A lint roller is going to come in super handy to clean all of this up. Okay, so we're going to start by just sprinkling each one of our little shimmer flakes onto here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the sunshine, which is the yellow. And I'm actually going to do the chunky, larger flakes. So like I said, if you open it to the bigger piece, you're going to get your larger pieces here. If you open it to the smaller section, you're going to get your smaller glitter bits. Okay, so I like that option. Depending on if you want your big flakes or just some little bits of glitter. We actually want kind of the bigger ones on here. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab that backer that was on there, and I'm just going to use it to press. Okay, this is going to keep it from sticking to, it's going to stick to your hands, but this is going to kind of keep it from your hands picking them all up. Okay, and it's just going to press them all down. Okay. Now we're going to need to move a few of these around. And like I said, we're working with glitter, so you're just going to be getting it places, okay? But that's why we have the little cloth down, and that comes in really handy. Okay. You could also take a brayer over the top of this. That's very helpful. All right. So I've got a good amount of glitter there for our yellow. And you can see that we're kind of trying to keep it captured on our cloth here. I'm going to grab my lint roller again. I'm just going to go over my fingers. Whoever invented these was a genius, right? Okay. Then we're going to pull off our next one. And we're going to bring in our mermaid. Again, we're just going to put down our chunky ones. This one has some great, little bit of purple in it. I don't know how, I hope you can see that on camera. It just has this beautiful, not only does it have the watery blue color, it also just has this beautiful bit of purple that I think really sets off all the blues. So again, I'm just going to press this down and make sure this is really stuck to my tape. Okay. I'm just going to kind of move these loose ones around. And our goal is to make sure that the area we're covering is big enough for our bunnies. Okay, because we're going to cut everything out at once. Okay. And then the last thing we're going to do is our pink. And we'll do our little pink peep. Now, how many of you do enjoy Peeps? I think I mentioned that at my on my live, or not my live, my Scrap Fest video. I asked a lot of you, how many of you were fans of Peeps? There were a lot of different answers. Some of you were huge fans, others not so much. So this one is the confetti. There's also a beautiful red one that's kind of more of a salmon color. That's really nice. This also has a few little purple hues in it. Let's press that down. This also, some of them have like some little yellow bits. You get a nice, there's some nice reflection of color in each of these. So I don't know how well you can see. The pink also has like some bits of yellow. And like I said, it is glitter. So it is just going to be a mess. Yes, Teresa, it is so much fun, isn't it? You're just going to be a mess, right? It's just, glitter is just a mess. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and tap off the excess here, okay? And that's just going to get us the last bits and pieces we missed. Okay, now you can try to dump these all back into a container if you wish, or put them in something small, or dip some other things in. I'm just going to go ahead and just for now fold this up and move it out of the way. And then once again, I'm just going to try to get a little bit of this up just so we don't have such a huge mess. Okay, like I said, the lint roller is going to be your friend when you're working with glitter. All right. So we're going to go ahead, like I said, we're going to cut out the bunnies. Okay. I am using a magic mat. I actually think I'm going to grab a new magic mat. This poor thing has seen better days. I think I've had it since before Christmas, but it's time for a new. Okay, now I do suggest, since we are cutting through the glitter and through the paper and through all the things, that you have a shim. Okay, so we've got the magic mat instead of our base plate. We've got the B platform top, and then we're going to place our shim over this. Okay. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a shim. That's going to give you some extra pressure. Okay. And then we are going to place our bunny right in the center there. And we are going to run this through. Now with the shim, you've got a little bit more pressure here. Takes a little bit more oomph. I'm just going to go over it a couple times to just make sure that it's nice and cut. Sorry for that loud bang. Now this is going to stick because we still have some exposed tape. So I'm going to pop that up. I should have put down my little sheets. There we go. The hazards of doing things live, right? There we go. Because we still had some exposed sticky. And I forgot to show you one of the steps. There we go. Okay. We'll fix that in a second. All right. So then we can carefully pull off our bunny here. And we have one of our bunnies all cut. Okay. Now the step I forgot to show you, because there is going to be that sticky, grab a anti-static brush, okay, and go over the top real quick. I completely forgot to show you that step. Okay. So go over the top real quick with your anti-static brush, and this is going to get any of the excess sticker stuff that is exposed where your glitter didn't hit. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do our second bunny. Teresa, they are cute, aren't they? So I knew there was not going to be many people in the chat today, Teresa, because I didn't really advertise today. I did a little bit on my Instagram, but going live on YouTube for the first time, I didn't want to have a whole lot of people on here because I was a little worried. Like I said, I've gone live on Facebook for many, many years. So that, I don't know what the difference is. Maybe because more people can see. All right, let's pull that off. It's still a little sticky, but okay. So I got our second bunny here. Kind of wiggle him out of there. Okay. Look how well it's sticking. And it is glitter. It's just a mess, right? It's just a mess. When our kids were little, I think glitter was very limited in our house. We allowed it, but it was bought for a certain project and then, not pulled out all the time. And I don't know that it was so much like the mess. I think it was more the fact that we had a lab that ate everything. You don't want your lab to eat glitter, right? All right, so you can see die cutting these with the glitter on. Not only is everything stuck to the tape, but it also kind of compressed everything. So we still have that gorgeous glitter, okay, with our fluffy peeps, but everything's nice and stuck. Okay, now if you need to, you can take some scissors and you can, some of those that didn't quite cut, I just pulled them off of mine. But you could take some scissors and trim them up. I kind of liked the way they kind of had the fluff to them, so I ended up leaving it on my card. All right, so while we have our die cutting machine out, I'm going to go ahead and cut out a few other items that we're going to need. And then we'll kind of clean up a little bit of the glitter. Okay, so now I have to say hello. Wouldn't that make a fun shaker card? You got all the pieces cut out? Cute, right? Teresa, oh, you weren't sure about the tape. Yes, the tape. That double-sided tape is very helpful with the glitter. And like I said, it also comes in a 4-inch. Okay. All right, so let's cut out our border. Okay. So this is a Catherine Pooler die. All right, I'm going to take the shim out because we don't need that anymore. All right, let me flip this because the shim kind of oofed it up a little bit. And then we're going to grab, where is my happy? So I'm going to be using the I always mess this up, Hip Hop Hooray dies. Hip Hop Hooray. Hi, Cindy. Cindy says, your flakes were supposed to be here Thursday. All right, so yeah, so now that this video is on YouTube, you'll have to give these a try, right? Oh, hold on. Before we put down our word happy. Oh, no, we're good. Never mind. Yeah, we just have a glitter mess, don't we? Okay, so I've got the word happy and I've got the border. This is Catherine Pooler's dots, scallops, and frames. I think this came out last Christmas or 2 Christmases ago, but it's still available because it's like one of her staples. And our happy. Okay. And then out of the pink, we are going to cut out the word Easter. Teresa said her daughters or her girls never liked the mess of glitter, so she didn't see it very much with her apps. I only had one daughter. We had 2 extras, girls that did live with us for a short time. It was more of like a foster situation, but our daughter did some glittery stuff. She's very much glittery. The boys, not so much. I think maybe for like some rare projects, maybe they had to do for school, you know, but not, you know, I guess, well, maybe my oldest son might have done a little bit more on the glitter. He is more of my artistic child. His wife gets to deal with his collection of craft items. So that should be, let's see, we've got the Easter, 3 bunnies, happy, and then I've got a piece of vellum here. Now this is scrapbook.com vellum. I don't know if you guys have ever worked with this. I love it. It comes in 8.5 by 11, which is really good for card makers. What I like about it though is it's super thick. So if you are one who has ever wanted to try heat embossing on vellum, this is definitely the vellum to try because it It is thick. It hasn't ever warped on me when I do heat embossing. It's just very nice to work with. All right, so I cut out the shadow layer for our Happy Easter with that. All right, so now we are going to move this aside. Do a little bit of cleanup here because, you know, glitter. These cleanup cloths, oh my goodness, I use them for everything. I have a little spray bottle that has like alcohol and water. And that's what I, whoops, that was fun. That's what I keep next to my space to get up and get this board clean. This is a glass board, by the way. Cody and Laura mentioned that scrapbook.com might have glass boards. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Glass Board Studio. Love it. All right, now let's grab our pieces here. And I bring in the original card because it's always easy for you to see what I'm working with, right? Or what the goal here is. Okay. We are going to go ahead and trim down our blue colored paper. So if you don't have this die, but you want to create the size of the white, it's sized at about 3.5 by 4.75. Okay. So we're going to cut this at 3 3/4 by 5. So that'll give us just a tiny bit of the blue that shows around the edges and a bunch of the yellow that shows around the sides. Okay. I know a lot of you do like the to have the measurements. All right, let's grab. We're gonna need some foam tape. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and stick these pieces down. We're just gonna go ahead and center this. Grid paper is always helpful because you just look at the grid, right? I'm notorious for putting my card panels on crooked. Is that just a me problem? Probably. I am notorious for putting them on crooked. All right, simple card base, right? Very simple card base. Okay, let's go ahead and build our sentiment real fast. Got everything in a stack and sort tray. That makes it so much easier. So I'm going to be using Artiste glue. Okay, you can see I use it a lot because the label's worn off. But I'm going to go ahead and just remove the top cap. Okay. It's not like other glues where you can seal it with the pin. So if you get Artiste glue, it comes with this little test tube. And you have the small tip, which we're going to use. This one has an extra cap in it. And then you have the kind of medium-sized tip and you have a pin. Now, a lot of people think that it's like all the other glues and you can store the pin in there. This is a pin that you cannot store in there. It will rust. Okay. Ask me how I know. But that's also on the scrapbook.com site. So do not try to store your pin in there. You just have to take your little cap off. I usually have like a bowl of water nearby or something. And then I throw it in there if I'm working so that the glue doesn't get all stuck, and then I can quickly rinse it out when I'm done. All right, so we've got the word happy, super tiny script, so super tiny tip. We're just going to put this down. Now the sentiment also has, it has happy and Easter, and it has hip hop hooray. So you could definitely use either one for this design. I also only cut one layer of the letters. Often, if you watch any of my card making or scrapbooking videos, sometimes I'll cut 2 or 3 die cuts, especially with smaller letter sentiments like this. And you can layer those instead of using foam tape. And if you layer them, then you get, that dimensional look. But you don't, like I said, you don't have to try to cut down a bunch of foam tape behind it. So I am placing these on vellum. I chose vellum because I wanted to be able to still see the little bunnies behind there. Vellum's a great little backer for sentiments. I know, I think too, I just need an excuse to use vellum. Maybe it's just me. Do you guys like using vellum on your projects? I use it a lot on scrapbook pages for journaling, because then I can place it like over some pattern paper and give it kind of that frosted look, but still see the journaling. I love to heat emboss on it. I cut flowers out of vellum quite a bit. I don't know, I'm trying to think of other uses. Like I said, do any of you enjoy using vellum? Do you have like some favorite uses for it? It's always fun to tear too, tear and put it around your photo. I forgot the little Y needs to kind of lift a little bit here. There we go. Cindy, yeah, she says she loves the look of vellum, but she forgets to use it. That happens a lot. In my craft room, I recently redid it again. I had to make it where I had a lot of things that were in drawers, like open and shut drawers, and like hidden in boxes on shelves. And I realized that I'm the type of crafter that if I don't see it, I completely forget that I have it. So I had to kind of go around and rethink my craft room to make sure that I had things in sight, visually, so that I was able to kind of see where things are. And I don't have a big craft room. It's like a 8x9, 9x9. So like I said, if these little bits bother you, just take some scissors and trim them up. But, the die did most of the work. So this is more just for you if like some of those bigger pieces didn't quite cut through and that is bothering you. Like I kind of like, I don't know, some of them were kind of fun to just have like the little fuzzy bits, kind of that fluff. I don't know, Peeps have like, they have like a sugar coating, don't they? I haven't had Peeps in the house, I think, since the kids were home. So, they have that sugary coating though, that then I think that kind of reminds me of that. All right, so scrapbook.com and others have foam tape that comes in multiple sizes, the 1 millimeter, 2, and 3. I'm going to be using the 2 under the bunnies, and then I'm going to be using the 3 and the 1 underneath the sentiment. So we will have to do a little bit of cutting. So let me grab my titanium scissors again. Again, I think these are my favorite for cutting sticky stuff. I've tried to use these before, but they get the sticky stuff gets stuck. These, nothing sticks to them. So nice. All right, so we're going to start with our yellow right in the center. Place it kind of close to the top so we have room for our sentiment. That's pretty well centered. And then we are going to grab our next one, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my foam tape here. This isn't to help it stick it down. Glue takes longer to dry than foam tape. And this gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Whoops, you can drop it too. This gives you a little bit of wiggle room to kind of make sure your bunny is stuck tight. Or stuck right. Stuck tight. Stuck right. So everything's nice and even. Scrapbook.com also started carrying, I've worked with Pear Blossom Press before it was on scrapbook.com. So you can get it from Pear Blossom Press also. Pear Blossom Press has, it's called World's Best Foam Tape. And it comes in the thicker rolls, but it is not permanent for 30 minutes after you adhere it down. I love using it for shaker cards. Okay. And like I said, scrapbook.com now carries it, but you can also grab it from the Pear Blossom site. But it's super nice. Like I said, for when you're working with your shaker cards, because shaker cards, I am notorious for putting that frame on there crooked too. That happens a lot. Oh, wrong tape. All right, let me grab. I'm going to grab my tape that is the strips. I think this is the right one. Yeah. These also I use for shaker cards a lot, but they also come in handy for your sentiments because you can cut them down to fit your little letters. And if this were not cut out of vellum, I could just pop the tape on the back. But it is cut out of vellum, so we are going to have to hide it a little bit. I'm watching the weather outside today. We were told today that we were supposed to get snow this weekend, which kind of saddens me. I don't know. How's the weather where you guys live? I mean, we've had some beautiful, gorgeous spring days that have been like 60s, like my air conditioner kicked on. So I had to shut it off and open the windows. Cut that one a little too long. Then, and my peach tree is blossoming. My almond tree is blossoming. Tulips and daffodils are blooming. And unfortunately, now we're going to get snow. All right, so then this, now if you wanted to pop it up more, and I think on this original card I did that, yeah, you can kind of see a little bit. No, I didn't add foam tape. I thought I did. But you can add foam tape if you wanted to this. Scripty letters are a little bit hard to do. I thought I had added a 1mm foam tape to the back of that, but I must have decided it wasn't worth my cutting of tape. So I'm going to press that down lightly. Make sure it sticks, and it does stick well to the glitter or flakes. There we go. All right, let's kind of clean up some of our mess again here, because my goodness. Once again, we have glitter everywhere, don't we? All right, so there is our adorable little Peeps Easter card. How cute is that? Like I said, these were, this is using the new Shimmer Flakes from scrapbook.com. We have I used confetti, sunshine, and mermaid. But there are lots of other colors on there. If you missed it at the beginning, let me grab the other two cards I've made with the Shimmer Flakes. So move some things over. So I did this little tag card. This is with the purple colored ones. I love this deep purple color. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? And then I did an anniversary card. With the unicorn, which is just a white, but it's got kind of a soft pink hue. Cindy says she's in Florida. It's 81 right now. Yeah, we go to Florida in January because that's cool enough for us. Okay, so these Shimmer Flakes, if you go to the scrapbook.com gallery, there are a lot of ideas using the Shimmer Flakes. But of course, you guys have a wonderful, imaginative, creative brain, and I know you're going to come up with all kinds of things. They're great for shaker cards, and I think that's what a lot of people initially thought of doing was just the shaker design. But I wanted to be able to show you that there was another way to use them, to be able to put on, you know, use that the 2-inch tape. And place it on your cardstock, sprinkle the glitter on the top, and then run it through the die cut machine. And that just presses it down and creates some cute, cute little peep bunnies, right? So fun. Thank you, Teresa. I'm glad you like these. Now, if you guys end up having any questions, feel free to post them down in the comments. Like I said, for the last 7 years, I have gone live in my Facebook group. I will be slowly transitioning this over to YouTube because I think it's a little bit easier for a lot of people. Facebook changed some rules, and I think a lot of people just aren't on Facebook as much. And here, we can keep it forever. Facebook now only allows me to keep videos for 30 days. And I want you guys to be able to come back to them because I think, like Cindy said, her flakes are still on the way. So, you know, it'll give you a chance to come back and watch this once your Shimmer Flakes arrive. Those of you who end up watching the replay, feel free to post questions you have in the comments. And I'll keep the live chat up. So if you want to add to that, you can. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I can't wait to see what you create.